Hello, I'm Carol Woolton. I'm an author. I've been the jewellery editor of British Vogue for 20 years. And my latest book is about stones and crystals called The New Stone Age. And I'm here talking with Pippa Small, jewellery designer, anthropologist, activist, humanitarian, who spends a good deal of every month around the world sourcing crystals and stones. So she is the perfect person to answer a few of our crystal questions. Pippa, firstly, what is a crystal?
Well, a crystal, I mean, there's sort of two answers to that. I mean, a crystal is a formation, how a stone grows. These are kind of crystal formations. So these are rock crystal, quartzes, amethyst that grows with these beautiful points. That's a technical term of how it forms. But I mean, on the other side, a crystal is so much more. It's kind of, I think, looking at kind of human nature, human relationship to the world around us. And I don't know if you saw recently an article about a piece discovered in a cave in Bulgaria, I believe, that was a Neanderthal necklace made of bear claw. But it was the story about how Neanderthals and modern humans have been coexisting. But I thought the fact that 46,000 years ago, they found a necklace, you know, this was the first form of kind of material culture, the first object that human beings created, or Neanderthals, pre-human beings created, something to wear, something that connected us to the world around us. I mean, I'm just using that as an example that was a bear claw, but equally they found stones that have natural holes in them that had been worn. It's something that human beings have been drawn to kind of create something that touches the body, that you carry with you everywhere you go. That protects you, that brings comfort, that brings connection, that brings a sense of safety, a sense of a shielding from the kind of potential harms out there in the world. So I think there's something so extraordinarily primeval, animistic, a sort of sense of a belief that there's a life or a soul in an object, and a crystal has become something that very much stands for that. And if you sort of think of, at that time, you know, people to find these tiny, you know, incredibly colored, just using this as an example of the kind of palette of colors, you know, for them to find these gems in the earth with these brilliant colors that are small enough to be portable. I mean, they must have been like miracles. And us now with sort of modern science, knowing these are made from kind of incredible chemical compositions and components and combinations and heat and cold and wind and sand and water, all these elements, these energies that go into creating these tiny, incredible stones and crystals. I think, you know, to me, it's sort of obvious that there's an energy in them from the earth, and that's something that almost, to me, goes without language. It's above language, it's under language, over language. It's hard to express it in words, but I think the energy from that is something we just feel it, you know, without language, we feel it.
Is there one crystal's characteristics that suits your temperament, and why?
I was looking through all my stones and kind of being drawn, and I think I always come back to rock crystal over and over and over the years. And it's kind of, whether it's a crystal that's full of inclusions, like I'm just showing this one, which is, there's sort of Herkimer diamonds, but they're all full of kind of prisms and interior worlds, and there's a kind of grayish hue to them. So it's not the kind of perfect, where do I have a perfect clear crystal? Somewhere. It's not this kind of glassy, completely pure, clean, incredible crystal. It's something I feel that's kind of complicated. It's more of a gray, you know, it's not this black and white. It's sort of showing that, you know, things in life are more complex, more subtle. But when I look at those, I sometimes just get lost for hours, just tilting them in the light and looking at different kind of formations inside. And they're complicated, they're common, you find them all over the world. I think most cultures in the world have or continue to use them in some way. But I think I find rock crystal probably the one, not for this idea of, you know, absolute purity, but actually for the contrary, for this idea of complexity and layers and mess inside too, earth mess.
Have you ever had a life lesson using crystal?
pulled out this stone, which this is not a crystal as in a gem crystal, it's a beach pebble. And I've set it in gold. I've had this stone since I was 8 years old, and I picked it up on a beach in Corfu. It was shortly after my father passed away, and I come from quite a large family, and there was something, when a child is in that state of confusion and mourning and so forth, but there was something about this stone, which is a kind of soft pink. It's really ancienty looking to me, and raggedy and chippy, and I kept the stone with me all my life, and there's something in it that I found immensely comforting. I used to sleep with it and keep it in the bath and wear it more recently because I've said it, but I carried it around with me for years and years and years. And I think there's something where I see in this soft color and this kind of ancient surface on it that I feel is like a mother. It's like a kind of comforting stone that, I don't know, it helped me. So I would say this one. Very peculiar answer, but yeah.
Why do you think that Meghan Markle has been so drawn to your Hermica diamonds?
Perhaps, I mean, I don't know the answer to that, but perhaps it's because it's a stone that has the kind of the luster of a diamond, but in its natural formation. It's a beautiful mineral because it actually, instead of growing from a root like this one, you can see it's broken off a larger crystal. The Herkimer grows self-contained. It has natural terminations on either side. So it's I'm looking to find one that I can show you an example. Let's see. So here you can see there's a kind of natural termination on each side. And I think there's something in the beauty and the luster. So it has this kind of amazing light in it and life in it. But at the same time, it's not a diamond.
If you could give a crystal to anyone, who would that be and what would the crystal be?
But Greta Thunberg, the young climate activist, was the person who I spend a lot of time worrying about. I think she's such an incredible young woman, and she's done such an enormous amount to change global opinion about climate change and things. And I worry about her. I worry as she's so young, and I worry is she safe? Is she being affected by so much of this kind of hate messaging that comes through? Where does she get her strength and her support systems and things? So I think if I were to send a crystal, I would send an agate to her, and it would be, I'm not sure if that's clear, an agate eye. So it's a natural agate, again, not a hugely valuable piece, but something that for thousands and thousands of years humans have used as an evil eye deflector. So it's kind of, there's another one here. So there's a sort of a natural circular eye, sort of, or this one with two eyes. And I think, humans have always used those as a protective amulet. So to wear it is as if the stone is looking out for you when you're looking at something else. So I would send her that and have her wear it all the time.
What colours of crystals do you like to use in your jewellery?
I can't think of a colour that I don't use. So I put some together. This is, for example, a collection of necklaces that I've been wearing, and they're every color of the translucent kind of palette. There's tourmalines, aquamarines, spinels, citrines, tanzanites, morganites. That's one kind of. The lighter translucent stones I find incredibly uplifting and joyful, and there's a lightness to them, but I think each of those colors is so soothing and soft and beautiful, and they just bring a sort of peace and joy. I mean, equally then I work a lot in these kind of more neutral. So this is a mixture of diamonds, gray diamonds, crystals, pearls even. So I think that palette is subtle and discreet and beautiful too. And then I also work a lot with labradorites, which is another favorite. This is just a cluster of labradorites, but they're pinks, blues, yellows, oranges, and I find those like opals, which are just these beautiful opals. There's some stones that kind of talk, and to me opals and labradorites, with this kind of constant movement of color and light in them, change in them constantly. It's like they're chattering. They're talking all the time. And I think opals and labradorites, all the crystals, those soft, beautiful grays, and then all these incredible, bright, beautiful, but yet subtle, delicate colors. So I use them all. Any color I wouldn't want to work with, any shade.
Can you tell me your own personal crystal regime or ritual that you do every day?
Every day. Well, I sleep in all of my jewelry. So at the moment I'm wearing, and this, I'm not sure if this is a reflection of the times or something, but this is what I feel I want to wear. And it's kind of larger opaque stones. So it's turquoise and lapis lazuli and sugilite. And I find I've been sleeping in these ones, and I think there's something about them that feel very shielding, very protective. I mean, the lighter translucent stones have a different kind of energy. These are quite heavy energy, dense energy, but I feel like that's what I need at the moment. So those are on me night and day, in the shower, in bed, and blah, blah. But I also have somewhere in this tangle of things, some stones that were prescribed to me from a doctor in India, where with this Vedic tradition of gems and astrology, which is so deeply and thoroughly imbued in Indian culture. But when a stone or a pundit sort of recommends a particular gem to you, it's because they feel that, having sort of looked at your aura and your energies, that the energy from a particular planet is something that you are lacking or need more of, or you need to combat. So I was prescribed a yellow sapphire, and in putting on this yellow sapphire, I remember it being, this is maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago. It was a particularly sort of anxious-ridden time for me. I can't quite remember why, but I remember sort of feeling quite edgy all the time. And I was given this stone and told to clean it once a month in salt water under the moon. So as often as I can remember, I put it in a little dish outside and leave it for the night. But this yellow sapphire has brought, I think even the moment I put it on, it brought a sort of happiness and a lightness and a sort of joy that I remember being quite struck by and feeling, yes, I remember.
Which crystal would be your desert island crystal? So if all of them were being swept away in the waves, which is the one you go into the sea to rescue?
Oh my God. This beautiful emerald, and it comes from Ethiopia. And there's something in this little tiny stone that has such beautiful light in it. And to me, it's just so full of hope. And the green color is so kind of like the color you're wearing now. There's something about that color that's so uplifting, and the sense of rejuvenation, of life, of continuation, of rebirth, of fertility, of nature kind of renewing itself. And I think somehow that feels important now, but it's also something that I think is an important kind of talisman to have. So maybe this emerald crystal, if I had to.